This is the 18th year of the Broyles Award, and I'll tell you, look how bad it's gotten. I had not one, but two pair of glasses, coaches. I'm just going to let you know it's coming to you. Now, I know that some of you are already wearing them, but you guys enjoy your youth while you have it. Jeff, I do want to say real quick that this is the 18th year of doing the Broyles Award. It's the 10th year with Rotary, as you said, and I have a tremendous thank you to Club 99, who I said last night I felt was the finest civic club in America. And I'm biased, of course, but I don't care about those other large markets. I promise you, no one has a better group of people than Club 99. And as Jeff was saying about this award and the national attention that it receives, this club has embraced the responsibility that's associated with perpetuating an award and a legacy that Coach Broyles has and is. And you think of the names like Lombardi Award, Outland Award, Jim Thorpe Award, Heisman Award. The Broyles name belongs there. And it's great that Club 99 has embraced that. And, Coach, it's great that for many years on, now I know you may live to be 150, and you may still keep coming, but if you don't make it to 150, we know that Club 99 is going to continue this great tradition. So thank you to Club 99. When you think of the great coaches, the assistant coaches, the finalists that we're listening to today, Jimmy Johnson and Joe Gibbs and Barry Switzer, Johnny Majors, Coach, you deserve this trophy, and it's great we've been able to do this with you for the last 18 years. I do want to acknowledge Karen Fetzer, Executive Director of the Rotary Club. She really worked extremely hard. This is an intense week turnaround. I do want to recognize Wanda Hoover and Jeff Hildebrand, our co-chairs. All three of these folks work really hard, as well as all the hosts here at Club 99. It's a teamwork effort. I know I get a lot of pats on the back, but I could not do this without everybody here. And the good thing about it, if something were to happen to me today, I've always said that Club 99 and Jeff and Wanda and Karen and all of you could carry on the Broyles Award without missing a beat. If you will, just give me a minute to recognize some of our sponsors. I already mentioned Kevin and Sharon. Thank you so much. And Patrick and Tom, thank you guys. And Shawnee and Spencer, thank you so much for sponsoring this award again. I do want to acknowledge some sponsors that have been around a long time. These first four sponsors have been with us for 18 years. 18 years. The first is the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. I want to thank Wally Hall and Tabitha Cunningham for their support over the years. The Communications Group. Dane Cowling was the first person that believed in this award and supported me. His brother Dan, Jason Brown, Dana Rogers, thank you, Communications Group. You do a great job. Arkansas Graphics. Mike does such a great job with these brochures that you see in front of you that these coaches get to see. Mike Broadway, thank you for your support over the years with Arkansas Graphics. KTV Channel 7. Mark Rose, Nick Ginty, Chris Scott, Scott Kane, and Steve Sullivan. Steve does a great job with the video. I know Bob Diaco has already seen this last year, but you'll see finalists that Channel 7 does a great job producing these videos. All four of those sponsors have been with us for 18 years. Delta Dental, thank you to Ed Choate. He's been a major player with this award over the years. We thank you, Ed. Arvis Bank, Jim Cargill. Jim, I think you've probably been with us about 10 years. Thank you so much for Arvis Bank support. Centennial Bank, Bob Birch and Jeff Hildebrand. Glad to have Centennial Bank on board with us as well. The Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher. Greg was one of the first persons I talked to about Club 99 partnering with the Broyles Award. Thank you, Greg, for your support over the years. A new sponsor, Landers Auto Sales, Stevie Landers. Glad to have the Landers guys on board, and Stevie Landers, we appreciate your support and your help with the award. The Little Rock Convention and Visitor Bureau, Gretchen Hall and David Russell. We're proud to be an award that's based out of Little Rock. Thank you so much for your support. The Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce, Jay Chesser. Thank you, Jay. And then the Coaches Circle. I think there may be 15 to 20 Coaches Circle. Those are individuals and businesses who have paid out of their pocket just extra to be a part of this award. And if you will, at this moment, if you're a Coaches Circle and a sponsors that I've recognized today, will you please stand and let's give these sponsors a great round of applause for their support of the Broyles Award. We could not do this without you sponsors. this is a team effort, and that's you play an important role, a vital role. I think Jeff mentioned it. I was making notes. We are having this banquet live streamed across the world. So, coaches, anything you say today, it'll wind up in Russia and China and everywhere else. So get ready for that. But if you want to tweet or text somebody, remember it's broylesaward.com. There'll be a link on there for you to be able to see the live stream beginning now. Do want to thank Matt Johnson for his help there and Brent Gamble for his help in the Twitter world. Brent does such a great job on Twitter for us. Thank you to them as well. Now, we have an amazing selection committee, and I think the Broyles Award finalists will tell you to be chosen by this selection committee is the greatest honor of them all. And let's run through these. Those of you who've been to the award before, you know these names. Vince Dooley, the great coach from Georgia. Lavelle Edwards, the great coach from BYU. Hayden Fry, the great Hawkeye. Dick McPherson, who's had multiple jobs. Johnny Majors, we know him Tennessee and Pitt. Barry Switzer, Razorback / Sooner. Grant Taft, Baylor Bears. Bobby Bowden, Florida State Seminoles. And a sad note, we recently had the passing of Don James. And he was such a class act. I don't know if you saw the outpouring from guys like Nick Saban, Gary Pinkel. But every time, guys, we would have him on the selection call, just a class act. And he was one of the first guys that said, hey, we want to make sure and be inclusive of minorities. And obviously, since we've had multiple Broyles Award finalists and winners who have been African American, and so he was just a leader on and off the field, and we hated to lose him. But he was a great icon and a great part of our selection committee. And of course, Coach Broyles is our last selection committee. Is that not an outstanding group? Let's give them a round of applause for what they do for us. Do you want to mention the banners on the side that you see? Those are all schools that have been represented. That have had finalists or winners with the Broyles Award. I think there are a few that are not on there just to make it fit. And we'll have to add some new ones this year. Baylor and Duke and Michigan State are all new flags that we'll have up there for next year. As I mentioned in introducing our head table, it is our tradition that we bring back the previous year's winner. And we have our previous year's winner back here. And to introduce him for a second year in a row, representing Lexicon, who sponsored our dinner last night, Patrick Schick. Patrick, come on up.
I did go to Catholic High. Coach Broyles, David, Club 99, Lexicon is a very, very, very proud sponsor of this event. We look forward to it every year. Thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us be a part of it. At this time, I'd like to introduce Bob Diaco. Bob had a great season this year. He finished 8-4, and I heard on the radio that he played 3 teams that qualified for a BCS Bowl. Dad and I went down and watched the Irish defeat Arizona State, and the best thing I saw about Bob is I don't think you sat still the entire game. And it definitely transpired into his kids on the field. He had a great game that day. They pulled out a victory because of interception late in the game. But I'm very proud to announce Bob Diaco, the 2012 Broyles Award winner, back to the stage.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Little Rock Rotary. I'd like to thank Club 99 for the incredible hospitality. Really, the people of Little Rock and the state of Arkansas. I mean, it's a great, great feeling to come here. We feel, my wife and I, Julia, we feel like we're at home when we come, and it's a great feeling. To have my name and my last name always tied now to Broyles is a great, great honor that I don't take lightly. So I'd like to thank the Broyles family and Coach Broyles specifically for bestowing that opportunity for me. So I'm here to pass the baton to the next winner and next group of these great 5 guys. So Coach Lashley, Coach Montgomery, Coach Narduzzi, Coach Pruitt, Coach Roper, congratulations, guys, for being here. This is a celebration of those 5 guys. It's a celebration of all their hard work. In a very competitive arena, you're talking about over 1,000 competitors for that trophy right there each year, and thousands more when you think about all the assistants as it relates to college football in the country. And they are doing a fantastic job leading, and I think it was a very special year. So 2013 was a special year led by these 5 guys. We are building young men up better than we ever have. We're reclaiming recruiting for the prospects, the high schools they serve, and the institutions they're about to go to. And most importantly, we're making the game much safer. These guys are doing a fantastic job of all those things. So I want to wish them the best of luck. They're 5 outstanding candidates. Thank you very much.
I want to apologize for Coach Narduzzi. It just was by accident that, no, it wasn't by accident, it was by alphabetical order, that we had to sit Coach Narduzzi next to Coach Diaco. Of course, you know, Michigan State only lost 1 game this year, and it was to who? Notre Dame, of all people. So my apologies, Coach, but it was great defense still. 17-13, I think it was a score, 17-14. Before we start to get our finalists up here, just a couple stats that I think are pretty amazing. 18 years of the Broyles Award. 40% of all finalists have become head coaches. That's 30 head coaches. Not to say that every finalist we have is going to be a head coach. A lot are career assistant coaches. But that is an amazing stat, 40%. This year, 5 conference championships represented with this head table. SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC Coastal Division champion. So you've got, let's give a round of applause for that. That's outstanding. And all 5 of their head coaches are nominated for Head Coach of the Year awards, 12 of the Eddie Robinson Head Coach of the Year award. How about that? 5 of their assistants. They meant how that worked out. 5 assistants and 5 head coaches. Usually that happens when you have great teams, but I don't think we've ever seen that happen here with the Broyles Award. And interesting, if you look at it, this may be the most ever. And this is what happens, Coach, the longer this award stays around. 4 of the 5 finalists up here, head coaches, were here in Little Rock. David Cutcliffe, 1997 winner. Gus Malzahn, the 2010 winner. Of course, David Cutcliffe at Duke, Gus Malzahn at Auburn. Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State. He was here in 2002 with Ohio State. And Jimbo Fisher, 2001, LSU. How about that? 4 of the 5 of their assistants are here. I'll take it one more step. 5 have already won National Head Coach of the Year awards. Guys who have been here. We might tell somebody back in the back. Thanks, Bob. But listen, I'm going to send that person back there has no idea what's coming. Run them, Coach, run them. Get a little too loud back there. Listen, that guy will never be the same again. He'll say it. This guy came in here, sounded like a coach. He told me to shut up, be quiet. He got jersey on him. 5 have already won National Head Coach of the Year award honors that were Broyles Award finalists. There'll be more this year. And for the first time ever, the national championship game this year, both head coaches have been in Little Rock. Jimbo Fisher, Gus Malzahn, both here. One is finalist, one is a winner. And they have 2 assistants that are here today. Is that not impressive? The selection committee is doing a good job, no question. The theme for this year, if there is one, it's the year of the coach's son, and high school football still means you're a great coach regardless of what people think. I say that by saying this: 4 of the 5 finalists are coaches' sons. 3 of the 5 coached in high school. And sometimes that's easier said than done. You don't think that happens. You know, Gus Malzahn has gotten a lot of attention, but 3 of the 5. So I think those are 2 interesting things you'll see themed tonight, today with our finalists. And our first finalist we're going to begin with is Auburn offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley. He's 30 years old. He was both a high school coach and a coach's son. He got both of them. He's a former Razorback quarterback who set numerous national records at Shiloh, playing for a guy named Gus Malzahn. It was there that he started a relationship with Gus. And I mentioned last night that the saying is that Rhett can finish a thought or sentence of Gus Malzahn. That's how long they've been together. That's how long Rhett has known Gus and knows his offense. This is what Gus Malzahn said about Rhett Lashley. Rhett is one of the best young offensive minds in college football. I've been with Rhett a long time, and he's been an incredibly valuable right-hand man. He has a great knowledge and understanding of Auburn and is a tremendous asset for this program both on and off the field. Our overall offense, I get a lot of the credit, but he deserves just as much, said Malzahn. He does the majority of the game planning and the work that goes with it. And a lot of people don't realize that there was a year, 2011, that you were not with Gus. And that was when you were at Samford. And at Samford, he was under a coach by the name of Pat Sullivan, former Heisman Trophy winner at Auburn. That one year, Rhett helped lead that offense from 100th in the nation in scoring to 43rd. That means their scoring offense went from 100 to 43rd. So that's very impressive. And you've seen what happened with Nick Marshall. Coach Malzahn gives Rhett a lot of credit for what we've seen with the development of Nick Marshall. So without further ado, let's take a look, a little bit more information on Rhett Lashley.
Rhett Lashley, Auburn.
Hey, in our minds, we got to assume they're going to score here, and we're going to need to go score again. You got me?
To fully appreciate what Rhett Lashley's Tiger offense has done this season, you have to look back at the numbers from last season. The 2012 Tiger offense hit rock bottom. This season, under Coach Lashley's direction, the Tiger offense has experienced an incredible turnaround. Ranked 5th in the nation in rushing at 320 yards a game, 15th in total offense, and 17th in scoring offense. And no SEC offense has been better in the red zone than Lashley's Tigers. And no player has benefited more from the Lashley effect than quarterback Nick Marshall. The first-year starter has developed into one of the league's most dynamic playmakers. Marshall, who's accounted for almost 2,600 yards of offense, has engineered 4 fourth-quarter game-winning drives. And anyone who doesn't think this 30-year-old has a chance to win the Broyles Award hasn't watched Auburn play this season.
Steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped off. And Lewis caught it on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score.
Please welcome Broyles Award finalist, the offensive coordinator for the second-ranked Auburn Tigers, Rhett Lashley.
Thank y'all. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank David and Jeff and Wanda and the Club 99, the Rotary. This has been a first-class event from last night all the way to today. It's been a great honor to be here with the other coaches. Coach Broyles, I want to thank you. It's an honor to be here. Growing up in this state, this being my home state, I lived here for 25 years. I know exactly who Coach Broyles is, what he stands for, his reputation for the University of Arkansas, for the state of Arkansas. I grew up, when he was kind of taking the Arkansas program at all levels to different heights. And what he has done with the Broyles Award to try to help assistant coaches is just phenomenal. And you look at all the assistant coaches he had over the years that went on to win Super Bowls and national championships. So, Coach, I just wanted you to know it's an honor just to be up here and with these great coaches and to get to spend some time with you. When I was growing up, and it wasn't that long ago, but it was a while ago, okay? That was when it was really cool on TV for players to go up on the sidelines after they scored a touchdown or whatever, and they'd get in the face of the camera and say, "Hey, Mom," and do all that deal. And my mom, I played in high school. She always, "Oh, you're going to do that for me someday." Well, my career didn't kind of go like I thought it would in college. I played a little bit, some mop-up duty, but I never got that opportunity. So I'm going to say hi, Mom, today. She's sitting right over here. I got my family over here, all right? My whole crew's over here. And then, most importantly, all the coaches you're going to hear get up here, they're going to talk about their wives and their families. That's what we all talked about last night. It was really neat. I got 2 twin boys that are 3.5 years old, and they are a complete handful. Thomas and Hudson, and if they were here right now, they'd be drinking everybody's drink, spilling it on you, running around, having a great time, saying War Eagle a whole lot. And my wife, Lauren, sitting right up here, pretty much takes care of them on her own. And so I wouldn't be here today without her. So my lovely wife, Lauren, I want to thank you. And, just real quickly, why I feel like I get to do, the best job in the world, because it's, what I love to do, why I coach. I grew up really in the state of Arkansas. Everybody loves the Cowboys. I was a 49er fan, okay? Joe Montana was my guy, and that's what I wanted to be. And then after I was done playing, whenever that ended, I wanted to be a Bill Walsh, man. I wanted to be a coach. So I just knew it early. I loved to compete. I loved sports of any kind, but I wanted to play and I wanted to coach. And the reason I feel like I'm able to do that is because of the men and the coaches in my life that gave me opportunities. And when I was 3 years old, my parents split. When I was 7, my mom remarried. Well, she remarried Phil Phillips, who's sitting over here, who happened to have been a high school head coach in the state for 8 years. And so all of a sudden now kind of become a coach's son a little bit, and he really did a lot for me in my life as far as just being a father figure, helping me develop, helping me learn how to be a man. So the first person that impacted me was a former coach. Okay, and then I get into playing in high school, and I play for Coach Gus Malzahn and Chris Wood. Chris Wood, who's at Springdale Harbor now still as a head coach in the state, was my coach in junior high and my senior year. And then, of course, I played for Coach Malzahn my sophomore and my junior year. And the impact they had on my life was incredible. You know, you learn things in this game that you just can't explain. You don't even know you're doing it. I mean, even to this day, I'll do something during the day, or something will happen every now and then, and I'll think, I wonder where I learned how to do that. It wasn't in math class. It wasn't here. It wasn't there. It was through the game of football. All the many lessons whether it's overcoming adversity, whatever it may be, all the things that are taught to you, how to work ethic, all those things, you learn them a lot from coaches. And I think that's why football is such a great medium to teach people in. And so, with Coach Malzahn, he impacted my life greatly. He taught me how to push myself to try to do things I didn't think I could do. That's what his greatest strength is. He gets players and his coaches to push themselves to do something that maybe they couldn't do on their own. And that's what coaching is. Chris Wood was my first coach kind of junior high, and he ended my senior career. And he's someone I still remain extremely close to this day. And so they really impacted my life personally. But what I also noticed is how many other lives they impacted. And not just them, all the other coaches that were assistant coaches I played for in high school and college. I saw the impact they had on other people's lives, and I thought, man, how cool would it be to get to do what I love to do, compete, coach, do what I've always dreamed of doing, and also have a purpose and kind of make an impact on young guys' lives. And I know all the coaches are going to get up here and say similar types of stories, but that's the most rewarding part. People keep asking, what's been the most rewarding thing? The Georgia game, the Alabama game, Missouri, you're playing for the whole thing. The most rewarding thing was Saturday. After we beat Missouri, we celebrated on the field. We walked in the locker room, and I finally just sat down for a minute and just looked around the room. And you see the looks on those kids' faces of what they have accomplished together after what they had been through just not too long ago, and what they were able to do together when nobody gave them a chance and nobody thought they could do it. That was the most rewarding thing for me. That was really neat. So I feel like I'm lucky. I get to do what I love to do, and hopefully it makes a big difference. A couple things about Auburn and about our staff. When you win as a team, you get individual awards, whether it's me here, Coach Malzahn, we got player going to New York, those kind of things. And I like to just think it's a representation of the whole group. And, we've got 8 other assistants that I think are extremely deserving of being here that I get to work with. I just feel like our team also has a whole lot to do with all the success we've had. And so I'm just kind of honored to be here to represent them. We have a team that found a way to come together and gained a lot of confidence this year. And, when you got a group of guys that'll play together and have each other's back, and they'll play with confidence, anything can happen. And we've seen that, the last couple of weeks with our season. But I tell you, I can't say enough that opportunity, and that's what Coach Broyles in this award stands for. He gave so many coaches opportunity. And he's given us opportunities up here today, and all the other people that have been here for the Broyles Award. And I feel like, that's what Coach Malzahn did for me. That's what Chris Wood did for me. That's what my dad did for me. They gave me opportunity. And there's so many great coaches out there that if they get an opportunity, they're going to do great things too. And, one thing I learned, Pat Dye, the legendary Auburn coach, when we were there, the first time when I was at Auburn in 2009, 2010, he said one thing that will never leave me. He said, you can coach them as hard as you're willing to love them. And I thought that made a lot of sense because we push our guys really, really hard. But we can coach those kids as hard as we want as long as we're willing to love them the same. And that's what's important. It's an extreme honor to be here, be here with a lot of family from this state. I'm very humbled to be here representing Auburn and the Auburn family. And thank you again, David and Coach Broyles. War Eagle.
Thanks, Red. Of course, Auburn will be playing Florida State in the national championship game. Thus, where we have Coach Pruitt on the one end of the table and Coach Lashley on this end of the table. Did want to recognize a guy who worked with Coach Lashley recently, and I think one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. John Thompson is here. Let's give John a round of applause. He's at Arkansas State right now. And Coach is one of the most outstanding high school coaches in America is here, Kevin Kelly from Pulaski Academy. Let's welcome Kevin Kelly, please. He's one of those guys that very easily could be up here one day soon. Our next finalist is 41-year-old Philip Montgomery, offensive coordinator at Baylor. Now, I mentioned 4 of the 5 assistant coaches were coaches' sons. I thought it was 5. I made the mistake, and Philip pointed out last night, my dad wasn't a coach, but he was a pastor. So it was Church of Christ, is that right? Is it Church of Christ, Philip? Of course, that's how you like that. Church of Christ, son coaches at Baylor, Baptist. But anyway, so there's some similarities, though, not being, to being a son of a pastor. When you look at the numbers at Baylor, y'all, it is staggering. When you average 625 yards a game, that's the average. But even more than that, I looked at the last couple years of games. I didn't see 6s. I saw 7s and 8s. That's 700 and 800 yards of offense. This is his 6th season at Baylor. He spent 5 at Houston. He is a quarterback guru. This is the 3rd straight year at Baylor he's had a different quarterback. This year, Bryce Petty. The year before, Nick Florence. And you remember the guy before that? Robert Griffin III. 3 pretty good quarterbacks. Then you take him back to Houston, where he was at for 5 years. Kevin Cobb and Case Keenum. You've heard about those guys on Sunday afternoon. So what a quarterback guru he is. He's coached with Baylor head coach Art Broyles for 15 years. They go all the way back to their days at Stephenville High School in Texas. He spent 6 seasons as the quarterbacks and backfield coach at Stephenville High School, where he helped Coach Broyles' program win back-to-back state championships in 1998 and 1999. Now together, they're winning Big 12 championships and going to BCS Bowls together. Let's take a closer look at Philip Montgomery.
Montgomery, Baylor.
This season, Philip Montgomery's Baylor offense has put up video game numbers. He calls the plays for an offense that has gained more yards than any offense in NCAA history. Montgomery's Bears are averaging a whopping 661 yards a game. Baylor is also on pace to break the NCAA scoring record. Montgomery's Bears average 56.8 points a game. The numbers even more impressive when you consider the Bears' top deep threat receiver and 2 top running backs were lost to injuries. Montgomery's Bear offense has done it with balance. 280 yards rushing a game, that's second most in Baylor history, 41 rushing touchdowns. They're also averaging a school record 381 yards passing a game, and the 29 touchdown passes, third most in school history. And all this was accomplished with a first-year starting quarterback, Bryce Petty. Montgomery has worked his magic at Baylor the last 3 seasons with 3 different quarterbacks. And over the past 3 seasons, no offense in the country has been more productive than Philip Montgomery's Baylor Bears. Today, a new honor for the play caller behind Baylor's rise. Philip Montgomery is a Broyles Award finalist.
Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. I want to thank the Rotary Club. It's been, and all the hosts, y'all have been wonderful. Got to meet a ton of wonderful people, my wife and I, and you've welcomed us here. We've enjoyed our time here. It's been a special occasion. We're very humbled and honored to be here. Want to thank Coach. Got a chance to visit with him this morning at breakfast and to hear some stories, and you got to love those. And one of these days we'll be able to sit down again and do that. But just to sit back and hear the stories and to understand all the things that he's been through and all the coaches that have gone through his system. And as you look at that list in the program and you see those guys that have gone on and done unbelievable things throughout their career, it's a privilege and an honor to finally meet him in person. So I want to thank you, Coach. I want to thank Baylor University for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this, and Coach Broyles, and for what he's meant to me and for what he's meant to our family. I want to thank my wife. She's been with me for a long time now, and she's the one that kind of keeps me going. She pushes me out the door. She cheers with me when things are good, and when things are bad, she's the one that I come home and bawl to, basically, and my kids take care of all of those things. So they're back at home at school, and my son really wanted to be here. He tried to talk my wife out of it. He wanted to come meet all the coaches and do all of that and tell her to stay home and take care of Macy, but that didn't work out quite as well. I am the oddball up here. My dad is the preacher out of everybody. And I'm not the one that enjoys the mic. He is, and he could be up here and he'd be back and forth beating on the Bible and making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. the best part is, though, is his group of friends that as he's out there being an old Church of Christ preacher and having to wear Baylor attire everywhere he goes, and they get to, give him a hard time about that, and especially he lives close to Abilene Christian University, and he's a graduate of that, so as he wears that on campus, it doesn't always go over as well as it should, so. But we're proud of that, and for what my dad has brought to our life and my parents and the way that they've brought us up. It's been a big part of who I am and what we do. As you start talking about why we get into this, and Coach did a great job with it. I got into this. This is all I've ever really wanted to do. I knew it from the time I was in junior high and getting to be around coaches and getting to be around guys playing the game. And for me, it's all about the passion of wanting to work with kids and be around kids and be a part of their lives and see how they can change and grow and mature and become men that can be leaders in your community. And luckily for me, I've been around a lot of good coaches. Our head coach, Coach Broyles, who's up for a lot of awards this year, and he deserves every one of them, but he's a man that really has kind of brought me through the ranks because of just the way and the way he does things, his vision of how he puts together programs and the passion at which he does it. And to be able to be around him and to be able to use him as a guy to be able to bounce ideas off of and just as a mentor to grow as a coach and to try to grow as a guy that has goals out there that he wants to achieve. But Coach is really the reason why Baylor has done what it's done. And our offense has put up good numbers. Our defense has been unbelievable this year. The part about our staff is that we've been together a long time. Coach Broyles has been the head coach forever, but myself, Coach Clements, we were with him all the way back in those Stephenville days. His son, Kendall, coaches our receivers, and I got to coach Kendall when he was in high school. He was part of one of those state championships. His son-in-law, Jeff, coaches our running backs, so it's kind of a family-type unit. And it's a great honor to be able to coach with those guys and be able to come to work every day and coach with your friends, enjoy your job, get out there, work hard, work long hours, do all of those things, but enjoy every minute that you're up there. And that's part of being a coach, and that's the thing that you love about it. It's not the hours. It's the amount of time that you put in it, the effort you put in it, the passion you put into it. And to see those kids as they grow and mature and develop and as they achieve things and the joy that comes out of their heart and comes out of their souls, that they lay it in between those lines every Saturday. So that part of it's been wonderful. That's been part of my life. That's been the thing that's kind of driven us. And it's a special place, and it's a special calling to be that. We're excited about, where we're headed. This is the first time Baylor has got a chance to go to a BCS game. We get to play the Central Florida, and we're excited about that opportunity. Baylor Nation has really come on. We've got a new stadium. We just, finished up, and I found out here in Arkansas that there's a lot of people that are excited that we beat Texas for whatever reason. Everybody comes back. I'm sure glad you won that game, and so that was a good deal. But we got to close out the case, and we're going to get to open up a new one, and it's building right across the river. And so we got things going in the right direction all the way across the board, not just football, but all athletics. So I'm proud to represent our football team, our coaching staff, and our university here. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Our next finalist is Duke Offensive Coordinator Kurt Roper. He's also a coach's son, and of course, many of you may know his father. Razorback standout Bobby Roper played for Coach Broyles on the national championship team back in the early 60s. And Coach, you were reflecting on Coach, I call him Coach Roper. He's a player and a coach. What a fine guy he was. And Coach Broyles actually gave Coach Roper his first coaching opportunity by picking up the phone and calling Bear Bryant and telling him that he thought this young man would be a great coach for him. So that was his first opportunity. I'm sure Kurt may mention that. You think about what he's done at Duke. Before he and David Cutcliffe got to Duke, the 3 previous seasons, Duke was 2-33. That's 2 wins and 33 losses in the 3 seasons before Coach Cutcliffe and Coach Roper got there. Since that time, last year, first bowl game in 18 years. This year, first 10-win season ever. Duke now is not just basketball. Duke is now football. And now Coach Cutcliffe, was a former winner here in 1998. This is what he said about Coach Roper. We're certainly so proud for Kurt with this recognition. It's truly deserved. I know what the award stands for, and without a doubt, Kurt Roper has earned the right to stand with the finest assistant coaches in America. What he's done over the past 10 months with our quarterbacks is incredible. We lost a 3-year starter to the NFL draft, then lost his projected backup in spring ball, and it could have been so devastating to our team. But Kurt persevered, put his heart and soul into his work, and it's not an accident that we're 10-3, ACC Coastal Division champs, and playing in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And I thought this was great. This is from his quarterback, Anthony Boone. Coach Roper has preached selflessness to us since the day we arrived, and we've taken that to heart. We don't care who gets the call or the recognition. We just want to win football games on Saturday. And I'll guarantee you that's why they've been successful. Let's take a closer look at Kurt Roper.
Kurt Roper, Duke.
After losing their 3-year starter at quarterback Sean Renfree to the NFL draft, most expected the Duke offense to take a big step back. That didn't happen. This season, Kurt Roper's Blue Devil offense averaged 33 points a game. 2 words to describe Kurt Roper's offense at Duke: balanced and clutch. Roper's Blue Devil offense is one of just 4 in the ACC to compile 20-plus rushing touchdowns and 20-plus passing touchdowns, and they produced 4 game-winning fourth-quarter drives this season. Roper's 2013 offense features not 1, but 2 highly productive quarterbacks. Anthony Boone is a perfect 10-0 as a starter. He's thrown for 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns. Boone's backup, Brandon Connett, is the school's all-time leader in rushing touchdowns with 30. This season, he's thrown for 1,200 yards and accounted for a record 26 touchdowns. Roper's offense also features a first-team All-ACC receiver in Jamison Crowder. Crowder set Duke's single-season record for catches with 88. I mentioned balance. 5 running backs in Kurt Roper's offense are averaging at least 5 yards a carry. And today, a special honor for a coach who preaches selflessness. Duke's Kurt Roper is a Broyles Award finalist.
Thank you. First, let me say thank you to Coach Broyles. He is a special person to our family, has been a family friend for my dad and for my brother for a long time, and obviously a great man, a great coach, and I appreciate you letting me come to your award ceremony. It's special to be here. Let me thank Jeff and Wanda. They've done a great job, and Karen Fetzer, I know she's been stressed out a couple of days, but she's done a great job organizing this. And Kevin and Sharon Lamb have been great to my wife Britt and I. It's been a great 24 hours. It's been fast, but it's been a great 24 hours. Excuse me. One of the first things people ask you, why are you a football coach? Why do you coach? Well, I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to go play football at Rice University in 1991 for Coach Fred Goldsmith, who I'm assuming a lot of people know as an Arkansas man. I practiced, we got there and we had our fall camp, went for about a month, and I started out as a quarterback and threw it like I'm right-handed, but I threw it like I was left-handed. So they moved me to defensive back after about a week of practice. And so I worked there, and at the end of our first fall camp, getting ready for the season, Coach Goldsmith brought me into his office, and he said, hey, Kurt, you really need to think about what you're going to major in because it's going to be important. I don't think your football career is going to last very long. So I said, I went and met with our academic advisor, and I said, hey, I got to find out something to do here. It's coming quick. So she put me in classes like calculus and economics, and shoot, I was fired up. I was ready for it. I was studying and working and grinding to be a businessman. And first econ test comes up, and I go in and I'm taking it, and shoot, I'm feeling good about it. Well, the next week when the professor brought me into his office and said, hey, I hope you're a good football player because I'm not sure this business stuff is going to work, I decided I needed to be a coach. And I think I found the calling. No, really, the reason I'm a football coach is my dad is here, and my mom and my older brother's here. The reason I'm a football coach, from the time I can remember, all I wanted to do was be like my dad. That's all I wanted to be. And he's the best Coach Roper in the family. My little brother works on our staff too. There's really only one Coach Roper, and it's him. And we're fortunate I was fortunate to grow up with him and learn how to be a coach by him. My mom was my rock. She's here. My dad, obviously, we're not around much, and my mom was my rock. She was awesome and taught me right and wrong and how to live. And so she was awesome. My older brother sitting over there, he made me tough. You know, he was mean. It was hard growing up with an older brother, so I got whipped a bunch, you know, in whatever sport we played. But it's special having my family here. It means a lot to me. They live in Fayetteville, and it's great to have them. My wife, I hit the wife lottery, and everybody knows what that means. I got lucky. It was unbelievable. It's unbelievable how great she is, and like I said, it can't be better. We have two great kids. That we just have a great family, and I couldn't be luckier. And she lets me obviously stay a boy and play a game, and I'm not around much, and she does a great job, and I love her, and it's been awesome. You know, thinking about our staff, I was the one selected, but there's so many people deserving on the Duke football staff, and really starts with our head coach. He is the guy with the vision. He's the one that really understands how to put a program together and develop, a winning team. And that's what we're becoming at Duke. But I've been fortunate with Coach Cutcliffe to be with him a long time, and he's taught me how to be a quarterback coach, how to prepare an offense, and I'm lucky that way. But the rest of our staff, the offensive staff, has been outstanding to work with for 6 years now. And I've been fortunate. My little brother is on that staff with me, and you just don't get that very often, and so it's special. And the defensive staff, Coach Knowles and his group have been outstanding. I mean, they went against some outstanding teams in our league and non-conference games that aren't easy, and they've done a great job. So I feel fortunate and blessed and honored to be the Duke representative. That's really what I feel like. But this really all goes back to players. The reason we coach is because the players give us an opportunity to coach. You know, we say we're always trying to help players better, and we are. That's our responsibility as coaches. But the players do so much for us as coaches. It's unbelievable. And I thank them all the time. Thank you for getting up and lifting weights. Thank you for doing what you're supposed to do in the classroom. Thank you for getting that extra treatment. Thank you for watching more film. Thank you for putting your body on the line every day so we can coach. We're the ones that can't turn it loose. We're the ones that can't walk away from a game, and these players all across the country allow us to do what we love to do. And so I've got a great group of guys. I really do. I've never been in a more special room than the whole offense, but specifically with the quarterbacks. You know, we've had some injuries this year, and they don't miss a beat. When Anthony Kinnett went down in the second quarter of the second game, and Brandon Kinnett, who was going to be an H-back for us, had to step in and be the starter, it was unbelievable how he just went about it. And he had prepared himself. He's the one that got himself ready to play the game. And then we're getting ready to play Navy, and Anthony's still recovering from a shoulder injury, and they're running off the field together, and Anthony trips Brandon. Brandon falls and sprains his ankle and can't walk. And Anthony's still not healthy. And they started calling Anthony Tanya Harding. And I'm thinking, wait a second. You know, we're just trying to win football games. So Brandon starts warming up in the next game. And to his credit, he says, Coach, I think I can go, but I'm not going to be great. You need to let Anthony start and be the player. And that's the kind of guys I'm around all the time. So I'm just blessed to be at Duke, blessed to be coaching with the guys that I'm coaching with, and blessed to have the players. Coach, again, thank you for having me here. It's special, and shoot, I've enjoyed it. Arkansas has been great to us. People have been great to us, and just like I say, honored to be a part of this process. Thank y'all.
Our next finalist has a really remarkable story as well. It's 39-year-old Jeremy Pruitt, defensive coordinator from Florida State. Father was a high school coach. He was a high school coach. As a matter of fact, it's remarkable. 2006, Coach Pruitt was coaching at Hoover High School in Alabama. 7 years later, he's here as one of the top assistant coaches in the country. And one of the amazing things looking back over his career, he even got the chance, which I would think, Jeremy, is tremendously unique, is you got a chance to coach under his father, Dale Pruitt, at Fort Payne High School in 2001 to 2003. So really remarkable story there. He also played 2 years for Alabama under Gene Stallings, won an SEC championship. Prior to being here at Florida State, spent 3 years as defensive back coach with Nick Saban at Alabama. This year, he became only the third, now this is amazing, only the third defensive coordinator in the last 28 years at Florida State. And who was the one? Who was our first winner? Florida State defensive coordinator Mickey Andrews. So he's the second Florida State assistant coach we've had here at the Broyles Award. He basically had to step in and rebuild this defense with new players, a whole new scheme, and I love what one of his players said. This is defensive back Terrence Brooks. Our defense is like an offense. We have so many different formations allowing us to do all kinds of things. Coach Pruitt does a great job of disguising our looks so they never know where the blitz is coming from. And we take it personal when teams step onto our field and think they can play with us. That's the kind of mentality you have to be great. And Coach Pruitt, you have certainly done that with your team this year. Let's take a closer look at Coach Pruitt.
Jeremy Pruitt, Florida State.
Most expected at least some drop-off this season from a Seminole defense that was ranked second in the country last year. In addition to losing defensive coordinator Mark Stoops, the Seminoles lost 7 defensive starters, including 2 first-round NFL draft picks. What Jeremy Pruitt's Seminole defense did this season is incredible. Florida State leads the country in several defensive categories, including scoring defense. These Noles are giving up just over 10 points a game. Passing yards allowed, only 152 a game, and interceptions and defensive touchdowns. No defense in the country has been more offensive than Jeremy Pruitt's Seminoles. They scored 8 defensive touchdowns. This big play defense also specializes in preventing the big play. This season, only 17 passes against Florida State went for 20 yards or more. Jeremy Pruitt helped defensive back LaMarcus Joyner become the school's first Thorpe finalist in 20 years, and his 2 freshman safeties are candidates for ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jeremy Pruitt was a 2-time All-State defensive back at Alabama's Plainview High. Today, a new honor for the defensive backs coach and defensive coordinator for the top-ranked team in the country, the Florida State Seminoles. Jeremy Pruitt is a Broyles Award finalist.
First of all, I guess Red will probably take that quote from Terrence, and it'll be in Auburn by the time this deal's over with. But, you know, yeah, he's got it. Now, I noticed they put all the offensive guys on this end, and they put me and Pat and Bob on the other end. And this morning we got to spend some time with Coach Broyles, and it was very interesting listening to him talk about the substitution rule. And it was obviously as new to me. I never heard anything about it. But you could only substitute one player at a time and all that. I wish they would install that rule today, because now when you look at these fast-paced offenses, you're sitting there trying to figure out the personnel, and there's 17 guys out there on the field. But it's a tremendous honor to be here today, and I want to thank, like everybody else, the Rotary Club, Club 99, and especially you, Coach Broyles. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and my dad is a football coach, and my grandfather was a Baptist preacher. And but when you look at the guys who came out from under you, and obviously you had to promote them and give them opportunities and you know, just help those guys. You know, my grandfather used to tell me, you know, he said, Jeremy, when you pray, don't pray to be blessed. Don't pray to be blessed, pray to be a blessing. And it's obvious that you've been a blessing to folks over your course of your career. And I just want to truly say that it's an honor to be here today. You know, I've heard some guys talk about, you know, their fathers, and I can't leave here today unless I talk about my father. And, you know, and my mom, since this is live streaming, I got to throw mom in there too. But it's getting Christmas time. But, you know, first of all, it's hard for me to believe that I'm sitting up here at this prestigious award ceremony. You know, when I had my dreams of what I wanted to be, I knew from a very small child I wanted to be just like my father, and I wanted to be a football coach. Now, I didn't want to be a head football coach at, you know, Florida State, Alabama, somewhere like that. I just wanted to be a ball coach, and you know, just trying to follow in his footsteps. And you know, I can remember him. You know, he pretty much babysitted me. My mom, she worked. My dad went to the, you know, the field house at, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's up there washing uniforms. I'm right there with him, you know. And I saw one of his former coaches a couple of weeks ago. I was out on the road recruiting. He said, "Let me ask you something, Jeremy." He said, "Do you remember that time, you know, you were in the 4th grade?" He said, "Your dad had just took the job. We just took over this program. And, you know, we were 0-4, and we're sitting in there. It's about 2 in the morning, and we're trying to figure out how we can score points." You know, he said, you're 9 years old. And he said, "You just popped up right in the middle of the meeting and said, 'Well, I think if y'all had run this play one more time, we might have scored.'" He said, "Your dad jerked off his belt, and he wore you out right there in front of all of us." But all I can say is I'm proud he started winning after that. That cut down on my whippings. But no, I wanted to bring up my dad because he was very instrumental in my life. Just watching the positive effect he had on the people in our community. You know, he's been at the same school now for, I think it's 26 years, and it's where he graduated from. He was a quarterback there. I was a quarterback there. My little brother was a quarterback there, and now my dad coaches my son, who's a junior, and he's the quarterback there. And my dad will be the first to tell you I'm the worst parent he's ever had. I called him up. They'd lost a game, and, you know, I mean, probably as soon as he got on the bus, it's Friday night, I'm sitting there. I'm trying to catch all the games, get to score. I've got play-by-play in between our meetings. And, you know, I called my dad up, and he answers the phone, "Yes." And I said, "Well, why'd you do this for?" And he just said a little something. I said, "Well, why'd you do this?" He said, "Listen, let me tell you something." He said, I ain't let nobody talk to me like this for 33 years, and I'm not going to start with you. If you don't like the way I'm coaching him, you can take him somewhere else." I said, "Yes, sir." But I just wanted to bring that up. He's still coaching today, and my son's still playing for him. But I just want to introduce my fiance, Casey East. We're getting married next May, and I'm gonna brag on her a little bit here. You know, so this fall starts, and every day, every lunch, and every supper, she comes in there with my packed meal. You know, and all the other coaches, they're just kind of looking at me, throwing their eyes up, you know. So after about 6 weeks, Sal Sinceri looks over at me. He says, "Hey, bro, let me tell you something. That's going to stop once y'all get married." So I'm going to challenge her today in front of all of y'all to see if this continues. I'll tweet it to let you know. But no, this is really the first season that we've been together, and she's really made it easy for me. She's helped me in recruiting, and she's kind of been my little personal assistant. So it's been fantastic. I wanted to talk about Coach Saban. I wanted to mention him because, you know, I'm a high school coach at Hoover, Alabama. I'm an assistant coach. I'm not even a head coach. He gets the job at Alabama in 2007. I think it's January the 2nd, and you know, he's been in Miami for a couple of years, and he's kind of away from the high school recruiting, and he wanted to hire some folks, high school coaches in the state of Alabama. And I'm here to tell you, you know, and maybe I'm prejudiced, but I think the best teachers in all of sports is high school football coaches. They take the guys and they mold them, you know, from the ground up. All we do when we get them now is we tweak them a little bit. But Coach Saban had a vision that he wanted to, you know, kind of take over the state at that time from Auburn. That's what it was, take over the state from Auburn. Coach Tuberville was there, and he wanted to hire several high school coaches to help off the field. And Coach Probst, the guy I was working for at Hoover Rush Probst, he suggested to Coach, he said, why don't you hire an assistant coach? He said that would help the high school, the head coaches in this state, every year, why don't you hire an assistant coach? It will be motivation for the assistants. It will help us, So obviously, you can get some of these head coaches, but hire an assistant coach. And for whatever, I know why. I sit here and tell everybody this. I played at Alabama. My dad was an influential head coach in the state of Alabama, and I probably know a lot of the high school coaches in Alabama. But the real reason Coach Saban gave me a job was because I had 3 guys he wanted. And so you can say, I have a lot of folks say, how did you get picked out of all those guys? I said, well, Josh Chapman, Kerry Murphy, Patrick Crump. So they're like, oh, yeah, I see now. But anyhow, but I'm very thankful that he gave me the opportunity. And not only that he promoted me from within to be a coach on his staff. The next person I would really like to thank is Coach Fisher. Jimbo is a fantastic man, not only a football coach, but a fantastic man. I mean, he is a joy to be around. And if I'm ever on one of those shows where you're answering questions, trivia, and you get a lifeline, I'm going to call Jimbo Fisher. Because he would be he knows a little bit about everything. And he can tell you how many points the dream team in 1984 averaged, and rebounds and all that. But he is a fantastic guy to be around, and I want to thank him for going out on a limb to hiring a guy that's only been a college assistant for 3 years. And you think about that. I mean, I was a defensive back coach at Alabama, where everybody in the country knows who the DB coach is, and that's Nick Saban. Everybody knows that. I'm not ashamed to say it. He is the DB coach. Everybody knows it. All you got to do is run the film. Run the film. And, for Coach Fisher to go out on a limb to offer me a coordinator's job, I owe him a lot. And for him to believe in me and have faith, and I'm truly thankful for that. The next thing, and we've all said it, and we'll all say it, there's not any of us up here that's made any plays. Last time I checked, I didn't make any tackles this year. Rhett didn't throw no passes. I mean, it's about the players. And, at Florida State, you mentioned Coach Andrews. They've been playing good football, good defensive football at Florida State as long as I've been alive. And, that's kind of, the trademark there is to play real solid physical defense. And, those guys that were coming back on the defense this year, we lost a lot of guys, but there was 5 seniors coming back. And Coach Fisher called them all in a group and said, hey, we're going to change our philosophy defensively. We're going to be a little more aggressive, a little more attacking style, and and you guys are going to be the leaders of it. And I can say this, those guys have bought in wholeheartedly, and, and there were some growing pains at times, but for us to be able to go in there and do a wholesale change defensively in what they were doing in the past, and for the head coach to have the vision to let us do that, has just been a remarkable transition. There's no way we could have done it without the players, and I just want to say thank you to them. But just thank you for having us here. This is a wonderful experience. I'll never forget it the rest of my life, and probably the most gratifying thing that's been a part of this whole deal was Coach Broyles this morning when we sat around the table and listened to you tell the stories. That's the best part of this whole trip, and I just want to say thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Coach. Our final finalist is a guy who probably had tens of thousands of Alabama citizens, rather Auburn fans, and folks in the South, I think, rooting and cheering for what he did last weekend against Ohio State. Yes, there you go. He is Michigan State defensive coordinator Pat Narduzzi. He is it doesn't take long standing around coach to realize he's an old school football coach. He's 47 years old, which is really young, but you're the old school version of our finalists this year. You've been with Coach D'Antonio now for, I guess, 10 years. 3 at Cincinnati, 7 at Michigan State. Been at Michigan State since 2007. But this year was the best defensive unit of Coach Narduzzi's career. It was the best in college football, and it was the greatest in school history. And you want to hear an amazing stat? We've heard a lot about offensive stats. I'll just tell you this. -48. Is that right, Coach Narduzzi? -48 yards rushing against Michigan. How about that? Now, that's a stat that probably will never be broken. Coach has been a coach for 23 seasons. He began as a graduate assistant in 1992. He actually played for his father, Bill Narduzzi, at Youngstown State as a freshman in 1985. And I think you'll hear from him the influence of his dad has made a big difference in his life. Let's take a look at Pat Narduzzi.
Pat Narduzzi, Michigan State.
There you go, Scarp! Saying Michigan State was strong defensively this season would be a huge understatement. Pat Narduzzi's Spartan D was dominant. They led the country in total defense, allowing just 250 yards a game. Talk about consistency. His Spartan D was ranked first in the country in total defense all 12 weeks of the season, and opponents rushed for only 80 yards a game. Big downs, no team was better on third down than Narduzzi's Spartan D. Offenses converted only 27% of their third down opportunities against the Michigan State defense. His Spartans also forced 27 turnovers.
Ball's loose. It's going to be a touchdown to Nico Allen.
And you better score early against these Spartans. Narduzzi's Spartan D held 6 opponents scoreless in the second half this season. Please welcome the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for the team that held its in-state rival to a school record -48 yards rushing this season. Broyles Award finalist Pat Narduzzi of Michigan State.
I like that fight song. That was the right one. Well, just like everybody else, you know, I'm not as funny as everybody else up here, but I guess I'm the oldest one. Appreciate that, David. But thank you, everybody up here, for everything you guys do. Coach Broyles, again, enjoyed that breakfast immensely this morning. You know, I'm an old school guy, like you said, and I've always enjoyed, you know, talking to old coaches, whether it be John Pont and Ara Parsegan, and you know, it's just a pleasure. Thank his whole family for being here today, and again, it's a great honor. You know, it's a win just to be here with these great coaches over here, period. And just to be honored and be one of the 5 here, you know, bringing home that trophy really is not a big deal. It's being here with these fine young coaches, and it is just I can't say in words how much it means to me and probably to my family as well. I want to start off by thanking my beautiful wife, Donna, out here in the stands. I've got you know, 4 children at home that wanted to be here, you know, real bad. You know, they may be sneaking in the door. They may have caught a flight to get here, but those are my 5 assistant coaches that I have at home that I've got to live with every day. And there couldn't be a better 5 in the world. They are behind their dad, you know, win or lose. And you know, you coach this game. I'll tell you a funny story. Probably, you know, someone asked me this yesterday. What was you know, probably the worst day of your life as a football coach? You know, for a family, and you wonder why you coach. And some of you guys, whether you've been through this or not. Our first year at Michigan State, you know, 2007, I believe, we played Michigan at home, and Chad Henne hits Mario Manningham in the corner of an end zone for a touchdown in the last 30 seconds of the game to win the game. And it was bad enough losing that football game. And then we won, you know, 4 straight after that game, and there was some motivation. But my poor children had to go to school that next day and get harassed in the state of Michigan. You know, it's not like the state of Arkansas where you're the only show in the state. We got another, you know, good school down the road. But for my kids to come home crying that day to my poor wife, my wife calling, you know, I'm calling the principal. I can't believe this. You know, that's what we have to go through, and that's what she's got to deal with every game. So it's my motivation when I walk in that office on Sunday is to put, you know, the best game plan together so that my kids don't have to be miserable in school. So I thank them. You know, I've got to thank, you know, Mr. Hollis, Mark Hollis, our athletic director, who has been very supportive of our football program, giving us all the tools we need to win. Obviously, Coach D'Antonio, is, up for a Coach of the Year honors and deserves it. He's done an unbelievable job at Michigan State. People don't realize he's been there 7 seasons. We've been to 7 straight bowl games. What they don't realize is before we got there, they hadn't been to a bowl game in 4 years. So we took it at rock bottom, and now, like Mark Hollis wanted, we got our feet on the roses in Pasadena this year, and we're excited about playing in that bowl game on New Year's Day. So I thank all those guys, just like I did last night. Got to thank our football players. As Coach Pruitt said, they make the plays. All we do as coaches is to put them in position to make those plays, and they've done a tremendous job. And we've got a lot of great players out there, that are getting awards similar to what we've been here tonight. I feel like it's Father's Day. Okay, I don't know if anybody feels like it's Father's Day, but listen to everybody talk about their fathers, and it's been impressive. And I came up here and I really didn't know what to say. Really did not prepare a speech, and went up to my room last night at 11 o'clock. I go, honey, what am I gonna say tomorrow? That I haven't already said, or they, do they really want to hear it? And I don't want to bore you, but you talk about a great defense, and we're number 1 in the country in defense, and all those stats are great, but it's not about that. And the thing I've learned with Mark D'Antonio for the last 10 years is not only the impact and the development of what we do with our players on the field, but it's the development of people. And to me, the most impressive thing we've done at Michigan State is not win games or be the best defense in the country. It's as we develop individuals. We got an unbelievable group of kids, but D'Antonio's been the leader of that group, and we have impacted people, okay, on the field and off the field. And that has been the most impressive thing we do as a football staff. And the thing people ask, why are you guys so successful? The reason we're successful and the reason you guys are probably successful in what you do is our kids love playing for us. Our kids love to play for us, and we love coaching them. And Lee Tressel quote that Coach D'Antonio always uses is, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And to me, that's the key to victory right there every week, is they don't care how much you know. They don't care how much defense I know until they know that we care about our kids. And that's been the key to what we do at Michigan State. And so I came up to my room last night, I don't know, I pick up my phone, I got, 3 dozen texts, and I get one from a guy named Ron Pence, and I'm going, holy mackerel. He was watching the Jimmy V cancer thing, I guess, on ESPN. I don't get to watch TV much. We don't have much time, but he's watching that, talking about, cancer and all that, and he was a former player of my dad's at Youngstown State. And again, as a little kid, I got in the coaching profession because my dad was a coach. And he started off at the University of Pittsburgh, was at Yale University. He went to Brown University. He was at Miami of Florida. Went to the University of Kentucky as a defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, just like I am. And I got a pair of his old shoes sitting in my closet at home. My wife looks at me like, why do you still have your dad's shoes? He passed away in 1988, but that's still a piece of him that's sitting in my closet. And I feel like I've fallen in his shoes. He was National Coach of the Year back in 1979. So he is my hero. Okay, and everybody's got their heroes. That's a guy that is my hero. My mother is my hero. She's in New Jersey, and she's a great lady. She, mother of 6, she held our whole family together and held us strong. My dad passed away at age 22, but again, he was the guy I looked up to. He was my hero. So I got that text last night, and I said, holy mackerel, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And I went back, and I said, holy mackerel. I said, to get that from him, he sent me a letter, and I had the original in my briefcase, and that was not planned, and things happen for a reason, but it was a 3-page, you can see it was a 3-page letter from him, signed by Ron Pence, and he was a player for me. He starts off by saying, my name is Ron Pence. You'll probably not remember me, but I played for your father at Youngstown State. Afterwards, I called him, and I said, I know exactly what number, I called out his jersey number to him, and he was like in shock, okay? I wanted to write this letter for a long time. In fact, it was when I first saw you on TV in the press box at Michigan State several years ago. I was moved to tears to see that you followed in his footsteps. Not only was I proud of you, but that you followed in your father's legacy, but it became clear that the day your father's legacy has followed me for 34 years as a man and a business leader. Even more proudly, he played a very large part in my survival, okay, in his survival. He talked about he impacted him in 3 ways, He said, my father lives in him every day. And that's how we as coaches impact. It is not about the X and O's. It's about our kids. And to get, emails and texts from, kids that we've coached, that's kind of how we keep going. If our kids would graduate and leave and never talk to you again, we'd be failures as coaches. But he said he impacted me. He gave me, gave people chances. He gave people chances. He was a guy that wasn't a kicker. My dad turned him into a kicker. He wrote in a letter, and again, 3 pages, about how my dad went to his backyard and built a goalpost there. And it's probably an NCAA violation, okay? But built a goalpost in his backyard. He instilled leadership. Now, this individual is now, executive with Chick-fil-A, but, he instilled leadership, he was a role model and whatever. He said Doozer was my first real role model. So it was his hero. So just like my dad was my hero, these guys sometimes, and our young kids nowadays don't have those. So you end up being a co-captain, 3-year starter as a defensive end there. But, and then he said he was the ultimate motivator, which is what I feel like I am. And again, he died too young for me to really get a piece of him, but was the best coach I had as a freshman. But, he said when I sat through, through my life, I guess my dad died of Hodgkin's disease and battled it for 8 years. And to make a long story short, he battled for 8 years. Ron Pence ended up calling him up one day and said, Coach, I've got Hodgkin's disease too. So he had the same cancer that my dad did. And he basically said my dad saved his life because he gave him the tips, pretty much said, treat it like the enemy, that is, kick its ass, is what he basically said, And again, you talk about heroes and talk about when you get a letter like that, how much it impacts you as a coach and as a dad. And, I just hope someday my son and all our former players, have that same impact. And I hope everybody in here has that same impact on people that you associate yourself with every year. So thank you very much. It's great to be a part of this, this Broyles Award, and can't tell you how much it means to me. Thank you very much.
How about one more round of applause for our great finalists this year, 2013 Broyles Award finalist class. I'd be willing to bet you that there's a good chance all 5 of these will be head coaches soon. Without further ado, Coach, it is time for you to come up and announce the winner. Everybody, Frank Broyles.
Oh, thank you. Round of applause for these. I want to thank David and the Rotary Club for what they do to make this such a wonderful occasion to honor the assistant coaches with a national award that really has a meaning to it. So our winner is Pat Narduzzi from Michigan State.
Not supposed to say anything. He told us before, just stand by the trophy and look pretty. But again, I'm floored by this. I can't believe it's such a tremendous award. And thank you very much. I mean, thank everybody again. I don't know what to say. It's incredible. Thank you very much.